Hey everybody, just Jesse here, welcoming you back to my garage, my man cave, for another day of just getting together. We haven't done it since July, and right now it's October 9th, the year 2022. You know, that's a long time, and that's something that shouldn't happen, especially on this YouTube site, as this is supposed to be a daily get together. Anyway, today we're going to talk about Solomon and how he forgot the first principle of wisdom, because there are some things on my mind that have been pointed out to me, and it's just something that I really could use right now, and I looked into it today in the Bible. So today, our pastor stood in front of us and talked to us about Solomon and David, and he spoke about how God said to Solomon, "Ask me of anything that you want, and I'll give it to you." Now, I know that I personally would have given the answer that I want my family to be safe and taken care of for the rest of their days. That's not what Solomon asked for. Solomon asked for wisdom. You see, Solomon was a young king. He was in his 20s, and he didn't know how to lead Israel. Israel was humongous. They say that the descendants of Israel outnumber the sands on the shore. It was ridiculous the amount of people that were underneath him as a king and as a young king. So Solomon asked for that, and God was so taken by what he asked for that he gave him wisdom, but he also gave him other things that came along with wisdom. He talked about how he would have riches beyond his means because he wanted to make it a point that through God and through the wisdom of God, there would be no other king before or after that would be as great as Solomon because of that wisdom. So Solomon did some really amazing things with Israel. They grew and grew and grew, and they had plenty. They had everything they needed. As Solomon gets older, Solomon, he loves too much, and he takes on too many wives, too many concubines, and it's just really off-putting that this is a man that's like David, his father after God's own heart. What gets me, though, is that it's not Solomon's wives' fault that Solomon forgot the first principle of wisdom. It wasn't Solomon's wives or concubines' fault that he fell astray. It was Solomon's fault, and it was Solomon's heart that basically didn't devote itself fully to God. Now, I sit here and I say that, and I read what I read in 1 Kings today, 4 and chapter 11, and I look at that and I try to compare that to myself. Now, I don't have 700 wives. I have one wife and I have a son. And my wife doesn't make me sin, and my wife doesn't make me angry, though at times I say that I'm angry, but it's not her fault. So the predicament that I find myself in is that the past couple of days I've been really, really grouchy. I've been just flat out mean with my wife, and so much so that apologizing just isn't enough. Today I'm coming to you and I'm talking about being a better example and trying to teach my 1-year-old son how to talk and pray and treat people with respect. Yet I don't even treat his own mother with the respect that she needs, that I'm telling him to share. I'm creating a bad example. Now I know that when my wife tells me that I'm creating a bad example and that I need to get on my knees and need to get in the Word, that she's correct. But at the time I'm angry. And so I throw a fit and I make faces and pout. And she's right. She knows it all. She doesn't need to hear that she's right or that she knows it. But she's a faithful wife in telling me that. Now I know God is a God of forgiveness, and I'm supposed to be a better example to my son And part of that is being in God's Word daily, and the other part is talking to God like He's my best friend. Today was rough to swallow. I can't show my son today that God is my best friend. My wife is teaching my son to say, I love Jesus with all my heart. It's in one of the books that he reads every day. Today is tough to swallow. She is correct. I am setting a bad example. And I am angry, and to be angry is foolish. I don't want to be foolish. It is time to put childish things away. It's time to be the best example to my son that I know how to be. God is the example. If I'm having a moment, I need to stop, sit back, compare myself to Christ. It's the only person I can compare myself to. And I ask you, are you comparing yourself to Christ, or are you comparing yourself to other people? Are you a Christian? If you are, then that means being Christ-like. So compare yourself to Him. Nobody else. Today is not a good day. But today will end better than it began. I will choose to be different than I was this morning. I will choose to be different than I was yesterday. And every day forward, I need to make a choice to be different and better than the day before. Now, how many of us go through life on autopilot, or just sit back and do our own thing and wait for life to happen? I know that's been me, and I know that we can't go and grow if we're not going and growing. So how about here and how about now? Join me. Let's be intentional. Let's ask God for wisdom. Let's mean it. Let's be in conversation with Jesus every day. And not just before our bedtime. Not just to ask for things to help people in our family that aren't feeling well, or anything that our family's going through at the time. We have what we have because we asked for it, and we don't have what we don't have because we didn't ask for it, is what Jesus said. Now, I look at that as, if I have what I have because I've asked for it, then I've asked for anger. And I haven't asked for wisdom. I haven't asked for kindness. I haven't asked for compassion, for teaching my son. It hits deep. I hope it hits you guys just as deep. I want you guys always to go and grow. I want you to remember that our God is a God of forgiveness. But we need to make the change. We need to initiate the steps. We need to ask for it. Ask and it shall be granted, God says. And that's not about superficial things. That's about heart things. That's about things that show God to people. That's about our witness. I hope you guys can go and grow. I hope that God is blessing you. And I hope to talk to you tomorrow, as this is a daily thing that I need to be in. I look for accountability from you guys too. So if you have anything to say, just reach out to me on any of my platforms. And I hope you have a great night.